Who's that? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And where's Amrita Kelly? She's probably downstairs. No, it's okay. She's going to pull a rabbit out of her hat. She's a magician. You know, rabbit out of the hat. So after class, don't go away. We're going to have a Pushpanjali ceremony if she gets the rabbit out of her hat, and honoring Bhaktivinoda Thakur because today is his disappearance day. Let's see what happens. We'll honor him at least right now by reciting together his Pranam mantra together. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchit Ananda Namige Gora Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. Translation: I offer my respectful obeisances unto Satchit Ananda Bhakti Vinod, who is transcendental energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a strict follower of the Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa, Rupanuga Varayate. So Pushpanjali after the class. Don't go away. Some of you have attended events like this before, and one of the events that I've attended, that not the organizer of, but there's a ceremony somewhere towards the beginning, a Sankalpa ceremony. Have you attended any japa retreats like that? Yes, I'm asking you, Mukunda. I think my sense is it's something that Satchidananda Swami liked, so he commonly would do like that. So the Sankalpa ceremony was, taking some time out of the schedule and have everyone reflect. And what is your Sankalpa for this event? So Sankalpa. What is it that you're wishing to achieve? Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses another word, and a synonym, pratigya, prati, like to obtain, gya, a solemn vow. That's how he expresses it. So what's the role I'd like to speak about? I don't plan to have a Sankalpa ceremony, but what is the heart's profound intention of taking shelter? That's today's topic. The intention of taking shelter. Something that I heard from Vaisheshika Prabhu like many times. Wherever intention goes, wherever intention goes, energy flows. It's sounding. Where intention goes, energy flows. One more. Where intention goes, energy flows. So his message, my understanding of his message is, if there's an intention for increasing book distribution, one of his favorite activities, he has many, but that's one of his favorite activities. There's the intention of increasing book distribution. Then what's the intention behind that? It's the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the intention of fulfilling the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by distribution of transcendental literature. Where intention goes, energy flows. So book distribution can increase if we focus our intention on increasing the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by this method that our disciplic succession has provided us, and especially our founder Acharya has provided us, although prior to our founder Acharya, many stalwart Vaishnavas produced volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes of translated literature, but making it accessible in the English language and then translated into so many other languages, Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. Where intention goes, energy flows. So I want to make a connection between this intention and Sankalpa. Or purpose. So what's your purpose? You ask yourself, what's your purpose in being here anyway? So I've been expressing a purpose, become more attached from wherever I was before this event, heading further in the direction of becoming attached. So that's attached is asakti. Those of you familiar with the stages of bhakti, attached is the stage beyond steady. Steady, attached, nishtha, asakti. So there's a nice sankalpa. By this, that, the other means, may I become progressively more attached. There's a possible sankalpa. And what's driving that sankalpa? That's our topic. So, the term sankalpa, one of the places that it appears is the 6 limbs or angas of surrender. You see below where it's found. One of the sources is Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatana Goswami. Chronologically following him, Jiva Goswami's writings, it finds its way into Bhakti Sandarbha. And there, very elaborately, I recommend if you want to learn more about these 6 limbs of surrender, go to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 22-100, write it down. You can look at it later. And because there's word for word and a robust purport where each of the 6 are explained and how it fits into the whole of the bhakti process. Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses the word sharanapati along with sharanagati. So what's the distinction? Sharanagati is striving to attain, and sharanapati is having attained. Just a chronologically or sequential description. So anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. That's the first 2. Sankalpa is acceptance, the way that it's translated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Acceptance of that which is favorable. That's the acceptance part. That's the mind's part. It's the purpose part. And then there's the intention behind the purpose, and that's that Krishna should be pleased, because that's bhakti. But anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, that's the second of the 6. Completely rejected is the synonym in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Varjanam, pratikulya, those things not favorable, completely reject. At least striving in that direction. Accepting favorable, rejecting unfavorable. Rakshishatiti vishvasa. Raksha means protection. And Rakshishatiti vishvasa, strong conviction, Krishna will protect me. Krishna is my protector, and Krishna will protect me. That's number 3. It's a sharanagati limb. And Goptritve Varanam, Goptritve, Krishna's my maintainer. Krishna's my maintainer. Just the other day, we were observing some nice discussion about Srivas Pandit. And Srivas Pandit was a householder, and he had 3 brothers and a big family and a big house and a whole lot of people to take care of, and he didn't appear to have employment. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, what's your plan? What's your intention? Remember this? And what did Srivas say? He clapped his hands 3 times and said, 1, 2, 3. That was his answer. What was your intention? Mahaprabhu asked him, could you explain? He said, if I fast, if I don't have anything to eat for first day, second day, third day, I'll take a clay pot, tie it around my neck, and jump into Ganges and drown. That was his answer. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Srivas, even if the goddess of fortune had to beg, you won't, because you'll be maintained. And she's, goddess of fortune. She doesn't need to be maintained. She's the one that maintains, the agent of the personality of Godhead. So, Krishna is my maintainer. Gop Tritve Varanam. Varanam, acceptance. He's my maintainer. And then, that's 4. And then Atma Nikshepa. Atma Nikshepa is very Sunny Vedana. It means full self-surrender, full dedication of self. And Karpanya, I don't know why it's the last of the 6, so I'm anticipating persons asking, why is Karpanya last? And my answer is, I don't know. But it's humility, in meekness and humility. In some lists that Bhaktivinoda Thakur puts it first. That makes sense. In any case, the way that it's listed in Hari Bhakti Vilas, it's number 6, Shadvidha Sharanagati. The 6 vidhas, or 6 limbs, or 6 parts of Sharanagati are these 6. So, focus on the word Sankalpa. So, Sankalpa is a purpose, just like what is your purpose in attending this festival of the Holy Name? I've been saying repeatedly, but ask yourself and identify a purpose. Because it's like a magnifying glass. I did this little lesson somewhere along the way, and I said it enough times that the kids in the class got it. So the lesson was, the sun is shining. And if you have a magnifying glass, that diffused light of the sun, because what's the light of the sun? It's heat and light. It's heat and light, diffused, spread throughout the universe, heat and light. So take a magnifying glass, hold it at the right angle, the right distance, and let the light and heat from the sun focus on something that's combustible, like a piece of paper or something. Don't put it on your sister's arm, because it'll burn. Or your own. So, but it burns. So it's because the sun is fire, but it's diffused. But you can focus it. So Sankalpa is helping to focus the mightiness, the power of the holy name. Sankalpa. It's like the magnifying glass, proper distance. You have to hold your hand steady. You can't move your hand around. Hold your hand. So the mind has to be focused on the holy name. And the coverings can be burned. Oh, Chetadarpana Marjanam, Sankalpa. But you gotta have a Sankalpa, you gotta have a magnifying glass to focus the heat of the sun on something. So that's the purpose. Now, Sankalpa, Vikalpa, that these two are the opposites, and often, at least I'm accustomed to hearing these in terms of the mind, accepting, rejecting. Sankalpa, Vikalpa. The mind's rejectance or acceptance of something. And then there's the magnifying glass held steady. That's the intention. So one of the ways to describe intention is there's a contemplation of options. I can do this or that. I can go left or I can go right. I can be focused or I can be distracted. So you contemplate options, and maybe initially there's indecision, but then it helps to bring the mind in focus. And then, so determination can have different meanings. Dritavrata is like, I'm focused, I'm locked in. But determination can also mean, I'm making a wise selection. I'm determined. I have determined that I will select. So it's a function of intelligence giving direction to the mind to accept. So we're going to spend some time on intention. The intention of taking shelter, specifically taking shelter of the holy name. That's our topic this morning. And the function of the mind goes on whether we're spiritually oriented or materially oriented. Materially oriented is bahushaka, many branched, because intelligence is many branched. But vyavasayatmika buddhi is where intelligence is very focused. And intelligence becomes focused when you have a higher purpose of life. And the things may come along that don't match that higher purpose. So your binary processor, the mind, accepts things favorable, rejects things unfavorable, because there's a higher intention. Say it negatively. Without that higher intention, the mind stays flickering. I'll say it positively. When there's a very clear sense of intention, that's that Krishna should be pleased. The definition of bhakti. One of the definitions of bhakti, Rupa Goswami's, is anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. Very simple. Krishna should be pleased. So we accept things and reject things according to what is going to be pleasing, what's not pleasing to Krishna. We had some discussion in the question and answer session about, anarthas or lingering habits or tendencies that are deeply embedded, and how do you get on the other side? This is an answer to that question. His deity worship to the standard that he wanted. One fine day, he was attending a Bhagavatam class or so, Harikatha, and he heard that one of the ways to worship the deity, there's 7 ways, and one is within the mind. He thought, fantastic. I can worship my deity in my mind. Although I'm poor and invalid, I can't get out and about. So he sat in his meditation and did the whole thing. He got the water from the sacred rivers, and he bathed the deity in those sacred waters every day, and he gathered finest ornaments and garments and crowns, and then cooked and made the finest ingredients, and every day in his mind. It was like super excellent worship, much better than what he was doing when he was poor. As far as quality is concerned, his devotion was the essence in either case. And you know the story. One day, as he was preparing sweet rice, he wanted to make sure the sweet rice was cool enough to offer to the deity, because you don't offer sweet rice hot, but you have to cook it to make it sweet rice. So it was cooling, and he wanted to see if it was cool enough to offer to his deity. As the painting shows, he stuck his finger. In his mind, he stuck his finger in the sweet rice to see if the sweet rice was cool, and his finger burned in his dream, in his meditation, and that startled him. So the painting shows he looked at his finger, and sure enough, his finger was burned, although it was just in his meditation. So at that very moment, descending, looking over his right shoulder, and Vaikuntha Vimana descended and invited him to get on board and take him to Vaikuntha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was so pleased by his devotion, by the intention that the Personality of Godhead should be offered the finest things. And he was enjoying, not selfishly, but selflessly. Now, one of the topics that came up before, and a few messages have come since then, how do I get beyond selfishness? It's about me, it's not about Krishna. So just this morning, Prabhupada's in Ahmedabad giving a class in 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita, and for about 20 minutes he was going on and on about the importance of deity worship, archana process. And then the selfishness is the potential. He was speaking of the Kanishta Adhikari, but the Kanishta Adhikari that's very self-centered, thinking about themselves, can become transformed, where Krishna is at the center. It's not a guarantee, it's a process, but a sincere practitioner. Who is the recipient of your service? Now, certainly one can do deity worship or any service, and it's not about if one is rooted in ego, it's about me and what I'm going to attain and all of that. But so it's a principle that Prabhupada was speaking in Ahmedabad was deity worship. It's important. It's important. And sincerity is the essence of the deity worship, and sincerity is the essence of everything. So how do we get beyond selfishness, especially if you have it strongly but you don't recognize it? Self-centeredness, say selfishness, self-centeredness. It's about me and my attainment. It can be my attainment in chanting or my attainment in fill in the blank. Although Krishna's in the picture, I'm at the center of the picture. So to flip it, it's that Krishna's at the center and I'm the servant. In material consciousness, there's two parts, I and mine. The mind part is the Sanskrit phrase mamata, I, aham, and mama, or mamata, I and mine. And then there's a spiritual conception of I and mine. I am Krishna's and Krishna's mine. It's the same, but it's different. One's material, the other is spiritual. Spiritual orientation, Krishna's at the center. So who's at the center? Who's at the center of your japa each morning? Is it your attainment, or is it what's at the center? That's the message I wanted to convey in this morning's class. One of the diagrams, this is borrowed from Satyanandan Swami, one of the topics he likes is, and I like it too, is alignment. And so the diagram is just a very simple one. It's a palace, And there's gate 1, gate 2, and gate 3. You know, Vaikuntha has 7 gates, but this just has 3 because it fits the body, mind, and words. Commonly, those 3, body, mind, and words, to be aligned with what? That, you know, what's the intention of, and how to keep the alignment, aside from the first 15 minutes of japa, to keep it there. What's the alignment? What's the intention? And the intention is that Krishna should be pleased. And if you can stay aligned with a strong enough sense of intention, that is Krishna Anushilana. Anu means follow, and Shila means behavior, or conduct, or character, or who you are, in the deeper sense of who you are, not the covering sense of who you are. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Anukul, there's the Anukul word again. Anukulyasya Sankalpa. So the mind in alignment with the purpose. The Sankalpa in alignment with the intention that Krishna should be pleased. That's this diagram. How to stay there? Well, one of the things to be aware of is the mind is flickering. We've noticed. And sometimes. It's, when the stage of attachment to Krishna is there, the mind becomes steadied, not just, nishtha, but attached. And when the stage of attachment comes, the flickering doesn't take place. However, it's very common that sometimes we act from the platform of the mind and sometimes we act from the platform of the heart, and how to have them aligned. And our relationship with Krishna, specifically the topic is the chanting of the holy name, there's making a choice. Remember that little slide that said determination, making your choices. So let the mind be driven by the intention, the choice-making mechanism that Krishna should be pleased. That's the heart. And that gives direction to the mind. Intelligence is meant to give direction to the mind. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says like that. The senses are superior to dull matter. The intelligence is superior to, or the mind is superior to the senses. The intelligence is superior to mind. And above all is the Supreme, giving the direction to keep things in alignment. So acting always in that position, it's not just say okay and snap your fingers and that's what happens. There's a cultivation process, or it's an ongoing journey. That's bhakti. Prabhupada writes in Nectar Devotion, bhakti is a sort of cultivation. I like that phrase. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. A sort of cultivation. It's a cultivation. From where we are to where we want to go, and you cultivate bhakti. So bhakti is acting or chanting from the heart. Okay, that's a nice phrase, chanting from the heart. How do you get there? To chant or to serve from the heart, we need to align our consciousness, that's who we are, with the heart of bhakti. Nice phrase. What's the heart of bhakti, please? Here's a little diagram. Notice there's 3 hearts, and at the center of the 3 hearts there's Supersoul. So what's at the heart of bhakti? The definition given by Rupa Goswami, there's the practices of bhakti, the limbs of bhakti. There's the object, that's Krishna, and then there's the intention that Krishna should be pleased. That's at the heart of bhakti. The intention that Krishna should be pleased. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Anukulyena, accepting that purpose that Krishna should be pleased. So what's it? So the first class, one of the first classes was this carefully chanting. Carefully chanting. Chanting with quality. So what's at the heart of all of that? And the heart is bhakti. So what's at the heart of bhakti? That Krishna should be pleased. So there's the key that opens the lock that gives us entrance into carefully chanting. Carefully chanting is Rupa Goswami's phrase, this anadarat. Carefully chanting with respect. That's because of bhakti. Once we reawaken our inherent intention to please Krishna Anushilanam, we can carry out our actions from the platform of the heart. Nice graphics, huh? The primary action necessary to become closer to Krishna is, so there's of the limbs of the activities of bhakti, the chanting of the holy name is most important. The primary action necessary to become closer to Krishna is chanting of his holy name from the heart. So with the intention that Krishna should be pleased, that's from the heart. In our loving relationship with Krishna, we strive to carry out our actions from the place of love, not merely on the basis of duty. Yesterday, there was one question from Mataji here who wanted to know about duty and love. Yes? So here's the promised little video, chanting every name with love. This is Vanipedia. This is compliments of Vanipedia.
Not as acting. Here is a beauty chanting of Hare. Not like with breath.
I think I'm going to have to do this. I have to adjust the volume. Then we'll go back.
Simply, if you are engaged in Krishna's business, Preeti Purvak, with love, not as acting. Here is a beauty chanting of Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Not like with Preeti, with love, chant every name, Hare Krishna. And here is Krishna, here is Radha. That kind of chant, quality. Not Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, not like Preeti. Desam satadayuktanang bhajatang preeti. That preeti is required. That is the essential quality. Patram puspam phalam toyam chomi bhaktya prajachati. Real thing is bhakti. Krishna is not hungry that he will give him some good food and he will eat it. Never mind in which way he can give.
I'll do it again because it's nice and pleasant.
Simply, if you are engaged in Krishna's business, Preeti Purvak, with love, not as acting. Here is a beauty chanting of Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Not like with Preeti, with love, chant every name, Hare Krishna. And here is Krishna, here is Radha. That kind of chant, quality. Not Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Not like Preeti. Desam satadayuktanang bhajatang preeti. That preeti is required. That is the essential quality. Patram puspam phalam toyam chomi bhaktya prajachati. Real thing is bhakti. Krishna is not hungry that he will give him some good food and he will eat it. Never mind in which way he can give.
mentioned yesterday, in response to your question, Bhaktivinoda Thakur doesn't elaborately discuss, but he speaks about the different platform of duty and love. It's not that when there's the platform of love, there's no sense of duty. Not that when you're on the platform of love, there's no sense of duty, even from Krishna's side, or the devotee in Krishna's side, there's a sense of duty. But it's driven by love, that Krishna should be pleased, etc. Or from Krishna's side, the devotee, my devotee should be pleased. Therefore, with that inspiration, Krishna does, the devotees do, because it's an exchange of love. We're not there. We're in the sadhana stage somewhere. And we want to become closer to attached to Krishna's stage, or prema stage, or love stage. And cultivation, primary method of getting there, medium of service. Attention and surrender because we have false shelters. Like Rosanna's question. She wasn't calling it false shelters, she was calling it, habits that are deeply ingrained. But so, it has everything to do with something is important to us. That's the shelter. This adarat is having respect because it's something that's important to you. You respect that which is all but important. So, if there's other shelters, there's a conflict to taking full shelter. The conflict. In order to accept our true original shelter, we need to let go of the false impermanent ones. Sounds pretty simple. I'm going to go back to some topic that came earlier, the 6 principles of surrender. That's the Sharanagati, those 6 principles of surrender. We've already discussed them, or at least mentioned them. 6 in number. So there's a place of taking shelter, striving to take shelter. That's where most of us are. And then there's a platform at the sadhya, perfect stage. There are 2 principles of taking shelter. Here's those 2 principles of taking shelter. This is drawn from Vibhishan's surrender, when he surrendered to Krishna, surrendered to Ramachandra. This is from Sri Vaishnavism. Their language is what their language is. It's a little different. But Akinchana, we know what the name Akinchana. And Tvam is having the characteristic of Akinchana. I have no other shelter. Akinchana. I have no other shelter. Akinchana Tvam. I possess nothing. This is this possession. Mamata. I possess nothing, which I view as my shelter. And then there's the flip side. There's forward and backwards. Ananya Gati Tvam. Tvam again is having the quality of, or somethingness. Ananya Gati. Since I have nowhere else to go to take shelter, I fully repose my shelter, taking spirit in the Sharanya, the person giving me shelter. I have nothing else, you're my only shelter. That's the stage of perfection. So one is, the difference is going towards and the other is having attained. And having attained is not just going towards, it's there is no other shelter. And you are my only shelter. Here's a statement Prabhupada makes in first canto, Bhagavatam. Practice, that's the Sharanagati or taking shelter, practice of devotional service will help one awaken God consciousness in proportion to one's sincerity of purpose. At least the language that I've been using this morning's class, this purpose is Sankalpa, sincere, how the deep vow driven by your intention that Krishna should be pleased. The sincerity of that purpose. And then, not just sometimes, but beyond complacency. So that's where we want to go. And then we cultivate. Cultivation we heard yesterday evening from Patanjali. That's the abhyasa definition. And when it becomes fixed, there's elements that make it fixed. Once we let go of false shelters and our minds, that is, mind, you can't abandon your mind, but you just direct it. Mind, senses, and emotions are directed by a single purpose, the intention to please Krishna. And then we can call out the holy name from the core of our heart with some consistency. Last slide. When we offer our soul, our very self, at the lotus feet of the holy name in a mood of complete surrender, inattentive and mechanical chanting will cease. Kabe habi bolo se di namar. When will that day be mine? But that's our teaching, our instruction. So on the topic of Sankalpa, the accepting, rejecting, Anukulyasa Sankalpa, directed by the intention that Krishna should be pleased, the heart of bhakti. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilana. And we're engaged in the process, and then comes the how-to. The how-to is you just repeat and repeat and you practice in good association. So soon we'll be conducting our 64-round day, at least that's how we identify it. And if Shyamsundar was here, he'd have us chanting starting at midnight. But he's not here. But you can start at midnight anyways. And he is accustomed to, in the hundreds, not just 64. He likes it. It's not like he's being ostentatious. He has a taste. Ruchi, he has a taste. And a feeling, and he's able to share that with others. Somehow it's contagious. Some people get up really early on 64-round day, and they chant more than 64 rounds. But it says not a number counting, it's absorption. Or at least it's an opportunity to become more absorbed, more attached to the holy name. So that's what we're here for. A shorter class, yay! See if there's some discussion. Okay.
Guru Maharaj, when we're chanting for someone else, like some near and dear one, and we're concerned about something and we're chanting for them, so is there a sense that I'm trying to please Krishna to help that soul or please that soul? Like, what is
Well,
the dynamic?
that depends on you. It can be either. But bhakti is that Krishna should be pleased. So then you have to look inside yourself and say, what's your intention? It can be either. Is it clear? And more common is for the soul. But a soul-to-soul relationship has Krishna at the center. That's how to really have soul-to-soul. So otherwise it stays on the, at least mixed on the, the material platform. It's not like it's not a 0, but it's not a 10 either. So the full benefit to the other person is not going to be transferred or broadcast. So one who is a pure devotee that is concerned about the welfare of another, it's transparent from Krishna to that soul. Okay?
Guru Maharaj, regarding the two principles, the two shelters you mentioned versus the 6 principles of Sharanagati.
Yeah.
So the last two, where is the Akinchanam, where I possess nothing and then I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems that the situations just force you into that position. Where
Sometimes it seems that what?
the situations are forcing somebody into that position where you are helpless. Now I really have nowhere to go.
Fantastic.
So feels like that is like in this it seems like that is the more advanced stage.
No, it's a question of consciousness. Someone that doesn't have that consciousness, they're looking for some other options no matter what. Hope against hope to find some other option, not hope against hope that Krishna will accept me. It's consciousness. It's resting on consciousness. I mean, it's similar to her question. It's different, but it's similar. Should I say it again, or you got it?
Yeah, it just feels like sometimes, it's consciousness, I got it, Maharaj. But is that then everybody will go through that situation? It has to be like a...
Well, we're conditioned souls. And we have shelters. Genuine, false, and mixed. So where's your, the answer to your question is what's your shelter? It's similar to this topic that I brought up earlier, the topic of self-centeredness. That has an influence in conditioned life. We're at the center. Even with bhakti, we're at the center. We may not be thinking, we're thinking something otherwise. Some persons thinking otherwise. But you get out the magnifying glass and it's about themselves. And Krishna's in the picture peripheral. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Maharaj, you have been mentioning about Patanjali. And
Yes.
in one of the classes, you mentioned Patanjali is a predecessor of 6 Goswamis.
He is a predecessor, 2nd century BC.
Is there a reference like what's the disciplic succession in which Patanjali
No,
comes?
there may be, but I don't know. I just know what I know, and he is an authority who those who are not in his disciplic succession, they have deep regard for. He's an authority they have deep regard for. They may not accept him the same way that those are. What I've understood is those that do hold him in that very, very, very special place, they see him in a certain way. They see him as an expansion of Anantashesh. So it's not that everybody sees him that way, but he's an authority. and he doesn't pull things out of the air. He is presenting things that are what the actual Ashtanga yoga system is, or any yoga system is. There are elements of that yoga system. So, back to your question. You want to know what is there in his disciplic succession? I don't know. Is there one? Probably. I don't know anything about it. I invite you to research yourself if you want to know further.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the great class. You mentioned that it's not that we don't have a sense of duty, but that the sense of duty is directed to pleasing Krishna.
Yes.
And I have felt that sometimes when I'm chanting, I will set up a Sankalpa in the beginning of my chanting, but that won't be sustained.
But what?
But that I don't see that being sustained as I'm chanting for a greater amount of time. And even that sense of duty, it sometimes is, not directed towards serving Krishna, but this is my duty and I need to get it done. But I don't see, the love part of, this is for pleasing Krishna and sustaining the Sankalpa I've set. So is there a practical way we can develop that love and sustain that Sankalpa throughout our chanting?
Sure. Sadhusanga. You've been with us, right? Sadhusanga. And then you unpack Sadhusanga, then you look at this strand, that strand, the other strand, you put it back together and you get Sadhusanga. There's different elements that comprise association with sadhu. Then you unpack the elements until what works for you, that's what you do. In the line of authority, authoritative teachings, and the sadhus that you look up to, especially, and there can be multiple sadhus, like multiple shiksha gurus, but those persons who you look up to, who deeply inspire your attachment for Krishna. So you do a bunch of that, and again and again, abhyasa, practice again and again.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. A little, I guess, revealing of a question, but truthfully, I've grown a little skeptical of particularly the japa day, the chanting day of japa retreats. Because I think that, at least for me, the experience in the past has been, when I attend the retreat, I feel like I've captured the tools to capture Krishna. And then japa day comes and I will have an experience because I have A, B, C, D, E notes, action items to capture Krishna. But we also know that you cannot capture Krishna. He will descend if he chooses to.
Yes.
Or not.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you could speak to what is an appropriate intention to have on japa day other than just experiencing something. Because we may not.
Are there different ways to, I'm pausing because there are different ways to respond. So I'm scanning possible ways to respond. I like very much that topic that Nityananda Prana and Himangi were supposed to speak on, and I thought they had, but they didn't. I'm chanting and reading, but not much is changing. So, an expectation or an intention is, I'm going to continue with my hearing and chanting, reading and chanting, and borrowing from your words, I'm looking to you, Krishna, for not an experience, but acknowledgement. I'm trying. That's a relationship. And you can, in Shikshastika, you can do with me whatever you like. Krishna Shiva Paratam Panashtamam. You can do with me what you like, but I am yours. So that's without an expectation of experience. It can be this, it can be that, it can be the other thing. Let me give myself to you. So at least going in that direction. That's this distinction between the 6 limbs of surrender and the 2 of having achieved it. One's going there, the other is you're there. But to come to the place where you're my shelter and I am yours. And then the reciprocation is you're mine. But you can't put Krishna in your pocket, not that sense of you're mine. But there's nothing else for me. So let me get closer to that. At least strive to get closer to that. And you can do with me what you like, because he is going to do with us what he likes. He knows what's good for us better than we know what's good for us. Our expectations may not match what's good for us. May not. But Krishna knows. Then everything comes back to the theme that everything depends on consciousness. So for you, having the preamble of your question is, I've grown to the place where, that's whatever the number is, 64 round day or whatever the number is. I'm not so enthused by it because the reasons you gave. So rather than having an expectation of experience, just an expectation of progress, moving towards that position of I'm yours. There's a relationship, in any case, relationship between the soul and the Supreme. So the medium for that relationship is made most accessible through the name. So let me enter into a relationship with you through the name. You can do with me whatever you like. And he will. And when we have this like sharing thing, sometimes it's dry, and sometimes there's a period where it just goes, that's amazing, goes up, and then that disappears. Like the waves of an ocean. There's the wave goes up, and it's true materially, it's true spiritually. Krishna's going to do with us what he likes. I'm going to go visit again the thing of self-centeredness, because the question has to do with self-centeredness. It's not using that same language, but I have an expectation of an experience. And so how do I leave aside that self-centeredness? And it's all about Krishna. Anyway, in reality, and anyone else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
It works.
Sometimes we say that good intentions are not good enough.
I say that all the time.
Yes. And here we are saying that chanting intention.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between
your question is his question. So Krishna is going to do with us what he likes. We should have good intention. But it's up to Krishna. So what's our dependence? What is our intention? You're asking and he's asking in a different way, but to me it's not the same, but it's quite similar. So what's missing? The Anukoyena Krishna Shimana, that's the intention. Then Krishna can do with me what he likes. What do you think? Does that answer your question? Does that respond to your question?
Yeah, kind of. I was going in that direction, that what is missing between the two intentions?
What's in between?
What is missing between the two intentions?
Who's at the center? To let go of false shelters, or let go of false ego that has its false shelters. That's what's standing in between. So how can we get to the place? This is the how-to. How can we get to the place where there isn't a gap? Shuddha Bhakti. That's what this whole discussion was intended to point towards or address. Do you want to, Jivana? You want to answer his question? No.
A couple of things. Clarification, or what I'm trying to clarify for myself. I want to press it to get your input. The question I was going to ask before these exchanges was, tomorrow is a 64 round day.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the 17 or 16 years of Festival Holy Name have been 32 rounds. I'm feeling a little daunted by 64.
Let's just do 32.
No, I want to do this.
Okay, then do
but
it.
what I wanted to say is that I was trying to contemplate what the fear is, what is the concern, what's the anxiety around. And it seems to me that it's concern or anxiety around experiencing dryness that could potentially happen because Krishna can do what he wants.
Of course.
So the motivation then for entering into 64 rounds then,
With dryness.
even if it's with dryness, this is for you, Krishna, it's for your pleasure. So the clarification is that the entering into this, the anxiety is helping me, I guess, to shift to what you're encouraging us to put Krishna in the front.
Let me respond. You know, most of the people in the room will know, but you certainly know, the way in which I regard Badahari, the way I characterize Badahari as a human glovjaman. Just bump into him, you get juicy. Sweet juice. He's just, and when he's in the midst of kirtan, look at his face. It's light in all directions, and he glows, and he's happy, and not just happy, he's radiating. What he's feeling inside from the chanting of the holy name. That's Badahari I know. So it used to be, he got busy doing other things, but we would have regular japa retreats, not just festival holy name, japa retreats in Girinagari. And he and I stayed in the same place. We stayed at the Institute House up on the hill, etc., etc. So after the 64 round day, we're driving to Mangalarti. I'm driving, he's in the passenger seat. How'd it go? Said it was a desert. Come again? It was desert. It was so dry. No, he wasn't like sad. He was just conveying what the experience was. Then he said, towards the end, I just kind of let go of the fact that it was dry, and there was some waves of joy that came, and then they faded because I was enjoying the waves of joy. But otherwise, it's just dry. But he's undaunted by that experience. Back to your question. Because he knows, he has a relationship with the Holy Name. He knows what that relationship with the Holy Name is. And Krishna's going to do with him whatever he likes, and that's okay. Not going to feel less inspired. So, your comment, your question is, connects to what Goloka said and what you said. So, we're on the same page. We're just looking at it from different angles. But you don't feel you have to, check the box. 64, or Shyam Sundar was here, he could get you up to 100. No problem. And enjoy it. But maybe it's not enjoyable. Maybe it's right. So what's it all about anyways? Your experience or a relationship? And trusting in that relationship, and that's this odd or so with respect. If Krishna feels it's best for you, best for Badahari of all people, to have, so many hours of dry, that's Krishna's choice. Not his choice, not my choice. It's Krishna's choice. And the relationship is there with the Holy Name. It doesn't break the relationship. It doesn't create the relationship. It's a relationship because he knows. No, we're not there. We're not Badahari. But, we're sadhakas striving for becoming Jeta, Darpana, Marjana, etc. Okay?
The second question, Marge, is
look at Sikshastika 3 before tomorrow. Next.
The intention part. Would you recommend we have a more specific intention than just wanting to be more attracted to Krishna or taking shelter of Krishna, like that?
My answer to a question like this is it depends. Our circumstance is what our circumstance is, and it's different than the next person, different than the next person. So it should be customized for you and your relationship with Krishna that's relevant for tomorrow morning. But then, the broad stroke can be articulated, and then it can be very specific as well. Based on what you said, the anxiety or apprehension or fear or something, be dry. Let me get over that. It's very specific. And then it can be, broader. And how Krishna's going to answer that, that's up to Krishna, how he's going to answer that. Turn you on your head and hold you by your heels and shake you upside down. He can do that. You can handle me roughly by your wrists. Make me broken heart. No, that's an advanced stage of bhakti. You might worship, O Lord, unconditionally. So, depends on you. Yes.
Guru Maharaj, what I'm gathering from the discussions about feeling dry, so what I understood is that devotees like Bada Hari Prabhu or Sham Sundar Prabhu or those who are, they chant for many hours and, as you said, juicy. Is it that they are comfortable with the dryness? They're happy even when they
Of
have.
course. I mean, the sound of his voice wasn't happiness. So, it depends on the definition. Back to Atma Nivedana's questions yesterday, the definition of things is, what's happiness? They're secure in their relationship with the holy name. That's happiness. So in their security, in their relationship with the holy name, it can be whatever it is, because it's not going to make or break the relationship. It's not, I'll have a relationship with you as long as there's happiness, please. And if it doesn't match my expectation for happiness, see you later. Checking out. That's not happiness.
So Maharaj, the happiness here is again like moving from self-centeredness,
Yes.
my happiness,
Yes.
to however Krishna responds, his happiness.
Yeah.
And also feeling the gratitude to be just given the chance to chant the holy name.
We should have you give the class. I think it's time to move on to Pushpanjali. Can we move on to Pushpanjali? Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for that, for guiding us with Sankalpa, with Krishna at the center, as we gear up for the 64-round day, and hopefully guide us through the rest of our lives. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome back to day 3 of the Festival of Holy Name. I know that some of us are working day to day, so really appreciative of your association here and the opportunity to serve. As Maharaj mentioned, today is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. According to the Gauriya calendar, it's actually also Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance day. So very auspicious day for us. We have an exciting lineup of sessions, with the one at 10:30 in particular, led by Sri Radhika Mataji. She's going to help us how to practically apply some of the learnings that we've had, and facilitate putting together a sankalpa as we go into the 64-round day. So, and then we have several kirtans. So kirtan lovers, this is the day to enjoy kirtan. So we're going to continue on with Pushpanjali and glorification of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, followed by breakfast for those of us that are not fasting today. And then we'll be back at 10 a.m. for Kirtan with Govinda Prabhu. So that's the immediate schedule. And just a quick safety reminder, these mats, as we've been told, are slippery. So as we get up, let's put them away, so we can do the Pushpanjali with safety. And one more announcement is about child protection. Kids under 12 do have to be supervised by parents. We do have kids' activities lined up as well. In fact, today they are going to be preparing for Rath Yatra. So, if you have kids around under 12, have them join that activity so they can be happy and engaged. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Pushpanjali means offering pushpas or flowers. So I'm going to recite Mangalacharna prayers, or whole Mangalacharna prayers. And then at the very end, you can come forward and offer flowers just at the base of the painting here. And then offer arti to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Guru Vandana. Subal, you want to do the honors of the Guru Vandana? There you go. Now, normally I'm accustomed to this being chanted responsibly, but how are we going to do this responsibly? So I'll just recite. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshoda Niritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutade Swayam Rupagata Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sapagana Raganatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadotam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutade Srimate Bhaktivedanta Svaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutade Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati iti namine Shri Varshavanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhyam Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipranambar Samodhe Anamurtaya Te Namo Satchit Anandanamine Gaur Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gauravirbhava Momestvam Nirdishta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Anchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhobhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahapadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurapishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatara Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bhakto Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Sarito Gangur Mama Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastho Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Presthanidhi Sevyamano Smarami Srimad Rasarasarami Bhangivata Tata Stitaha Karshan Medusvanayan Gopir Gopinatha Shriye Sudaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Satchit Anandanamine Gaur Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Esha Pushpanjali
Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Samsaradabha Nalalidha Lokha Ranajakarunya Ganad Ganadvam. Samsadhatava Nalalidha Lokha Tranajakarunya Ganad Ganadvan. Pratasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Mahaprabho Kirtana Nritya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Senam. Romanchakampa Shrutaranga Bhajo Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Sri Vigrahara Dhananityananda Shringarathan Mandira Marjanado. Yuktasya bhaktams chanijunjatopi Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Chaturvidasri Bhagavat Prasadhan Shwadhana Triptam Hari Bhakta Sangam. Trithaiva triptin bhajato sadhaiva Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Shri Radhikama Davajora Para Mardhuya Lila Guna Rupananam. Pratishana Swadana Lolupasya Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Kunja Juno Ratikeli Siddhe Jajali Bhir Yuktira Pekshanija. Tatrati dasya hati balavasya bande guru sri charanarabindam. Shakshakari de nachamasta chastre Uktas tatas bhavyatae vasabe. Uktas tatas Kintu Prabhuja Priyae Vatasya Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Jasya prasadhan bhagavat prasadhan jasya prasadhan nagati kutopi. Dajan studvan Tasyas jasyas trisandhyam Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Oh Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Bande Guru Sri Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya, Ashtotara Shata Shishimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya, Ashtotara Shata Shishimad, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya, Ashtotara Shata Shishimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga.